Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm Paul Jasper, host, as we begin the new year telecasting from the lobby downtown of Fairfield Federal. And this is our first show of the new year. We've had a couple weeks with the Rotary Choir in there. They did such a great job. We always enjoy hearing them. They really bring the meaning to the season. So we're thankful that Judy Root and everybody all the Rotarians can get together and do that for us. And we enjoyed having them. But this is actually, as we tape this, our first new show of the year. So we hope it was a Merry Christmas for all of you and a Happy New Year. And we look forward to 2017 here on Fairfield Today with lots of interesting people and guests and programs. And we hope it'll be an informative year for you as we go into 2017. Got to begin things with a subject that I've tried to get somebody to speak on, the Fairfield County Airport, which I think is one of the real gems of Lancaster and Fairfield County, and we just haven't been able to get that worked out until today. So the new year has answered prayer. We get to Fairfield County Airport. One of the managers, Pat Rooney. Pat, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks
Good.
for having me. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Happy New Year. Pat's one of the managers out at the Fairfield County Airport, and again, I tried for years to get that rascal Glenn Burns on, but he's always he's one of these working guys that is very difficult for him to get away. But I hadn't let up, and then a few weeks ago he says, "You ought to talk to Pat Rooney. He's our manager out there." So he's the one that sicked me on you. So you can blame him for being on here today.
I blame myself. I'm retired, and here I am working at the airport.
Well, again, I think the airport is one of the hidden gems. There are lots of things around Lancaster that people just don't know a lot about. And as we were talking before we went on, this has been, I don't ever remember a time there wasn't a Fairfield County Airport. There's always been one here. And it's just gotten bigger and more things going on. I hear Glenn talk about it every week. 2016 was a pretty big year for the Fairfield County Airport. You guys got a lot done.
Well, there's a lot of things going on there. I mean, the runway was redone, completely resurfaced, repaved. We had the new VASI lights put on, which are glide path and make it a lot safer to land, especially with instrument conditions. The terminal was renovated, and it's much nicer. So it's a better facility, and for us, we got better flying, and we actually flew 2,400 hours last year for Sundowner Aviation, and then Due North is out there flying.
Now, Sundowner is the pilot training.
That's right.
And Due North is a helicopter.
That's right.
Okay.
And Due North is going. There's just a great demand for pilot training now with the shortage of pilots. Plus, TSA from Columbus is helping us a little bit, I think, in that a lot of the personal jets are coming down in here. The people find it a lot easier to get right on the jet and go where they want. It's a short little drive, and it's a lot less hassle than it is at Columbus. The jet can come in, we can get them fueled, we can get them out in a half hour. No muss, no fuss, and away they go.
Didn't I remember Glenn Burns talking about the president-elect flew in to Lancaster?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
All right. His son, Donald Trump, flew in.
Okay, that was it, for a Columbus event.
That's right. He flew in for a Columbus event. That was the day that President Obama was in Columbus. So
yeah, they were both
nobody
parties.
could go to Columbus.
Right.
And the very next day, we got a call from the president-elect, who was not the president-elect then.
Yes.
And said, could he come in to have he wanted to have it at the HAS hangar, which is on the airport, but we just can't take a 757. We're not that big to take a 189 or 90,000 pound airplane.
You mentioned this a little bit ago. A big thing now, as you talked about, is pilot training. A lot of people are learning that. They're getting into that, and there's lots of reasons for that. What is the cost if somebody had an interest? Maybe I want to come out and call you or talk to you about that. What would be the cost someone could expect to spend on becoming just your entry-level pilot training?
Well, the first thing I always ask them is, how often are you going to come? The more often you come, the better your learning curve, and the cheaper it's going to be. If you come a reasonable amount, like once a week, and you can
Okay.
stay with that. You can be done in about 3 to 4 months,
All right.
and it's going to cost you probably about $7,500 $8,000
Okay. In 3 to 4 months.
in 3 to 4
Okay.
months. If you have bad weather or something like that, or a lot of things, and you start getting stretched out, it'll start getting more costly. And if you can really tighten it up and come, 3 days a week or whatever, we can get you done probably in 6 weeks, and you can be down in the neighborhood of $6,000.
We talked about in your located just up 33, just a short drive north of Lancaster, right there on Route 33. And again, I called it one of the hidden gems. I know, in your opinion, the airport is a real boon to the community. The things that you add to this community in many ways.
That's right. I don't necessarily know that I add anything, but
Well, I mean, your
airport.
opinion is that the
Yeah.
airport adds.
Airport adds a ton. I mean, there's a lot of corporations that fly in here. Treehouse flies in here. Chipotle flies in here now to take care of their new store down there. Then there's a couple local flyers. Company Wrench has their own airplane out there.
Yeah.
Gorsuch has his own airplane to go look at his properties around the country. Anchor Hocking comes in once in a while. So there's
Okay.
Calox has been in sometimes. It helps them, when you're moving executives that are getting paid a lot of money, it helps to get them in where they can stop 3 or 4 places at once. And sometimes they'll send an accounting team that'll, they'll get one of the companies in Lancaster this morning, and then they'll go up to Michigan and get one in the afternoon, and the next day they'll get 2 more before they're back home in Minneapolis.
Now, you talked about you're involved with Sundowner Aviation. What do they do out there?
With Sundowner Aviation, we do 3 things basically. We manage the airport for the board, the county. We have our own flight school where we teach people to fly, and we can teach everything from entry level all the way up to ATP, which is airline transport pilot. And we also have a maintenance shop where we repair, fix, and maintain airplanes for ourselves and for others. And those are the 3 things we do.
So I'm talking with Pat Rooney, who's one of the managers out there at the Fairfield County Airport. Do you know, was it ever called Anchor Hocking Airport? It seems to me it just flashed through my head. Once upon a time when I was very young, maybe Anchor had a name in that or something. I don't know.
I don't know whether it was named that, but I know that Anchor Hocking had a lot to do with it.
Maybe that was the common thing.
Anchor Hocking, if I don't know whether they started the concrete, but the first instrument approach out there was put in by Anchor Hocking after they had an accident out there when they were flying in very often.
Yeah.
And no, whether it was called Anchor Hocking, that was before my time.
Sure. Now, we talked about Sundowner and pilot training, and you mentioned due north and helicopters. That's something that's starting to get some legs out there, too, is people wanting to learn some helicopter
Oh, yes.
licensing.
There's all kinds of opportunities in aviation, whether it be helicopters or fixed wing. And also, we've got a lot of people coming in now. We have a FAA test center out there.
Okay.
And a lot of people are coming out to get their licenses for the drone.
That's a new thing now, isn't
Yes,
it?
it sure is.
You guys up to speed on that?
Yes,
or?
we are. We give the test, and we can give the course. And if you look at our website, you can see a couple of drone pictures that we took while they were building it. The guy that runs our website has his drone license, and I'll tell you what, it is really pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, I've seen pictures from drones and things around, and golly, there's a lot of potential here. I mean, we're going to see a lot of things in the next few years.
Yeah. Well, the very first guy we trained was a policeman, and so they can use it to get up over a hill or a house and look what's going on.
See
in
where the
back.
bad guys are.
Or come around. Let's look at a window with.
Sure.
He was the first guy that got it.
Now, do you have businesses located out at the airport too? Actually have planes and hangars, or those are the ones you talked about?
Well, Company Wrench has an airplane out
oh,
there,
okay,
but
okay.
their business is not there.
Right.
Gorsuch has his airplane out there, but
Okay.
his business isn't. We have aviation maintenance service, which is pretty small and does some aircraft maintenance out in the back. And then there's a couple people that have the airplane is part of their business. They may be selling machinery or trading this or that or the other thing, and they use that to get to where they need to go or to take a customer where they need to go. And it's a lot easier if you can take a customer to see $100,000 or $200,000 piece of machinery, and you can see it in 3 hours instead of driving 10.
Yeah. So I guess that's what, if a company came to you and said, why would I want to put a jet out here? Why would I want to put a plane out here? Those are the kind of things that perhaps you would tell them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
that what you can do here is much better, much lightning speed.
oh, yes. I mean, the thing is that, for instance, out in the, where U.S. Cardboard, corrugated, the industrial complex.
Rock Mill?
Yeah, the industrial.
Right.
Those guys, if their plant goes down, if they need a part, one of them came to us one time to get a part, and they sent their own pilot over to get it. One of their employees flew the pilot, and he was associated with us by renting an airplane, so he took the airplane to go get it, and it was costing them several $1,000s an hour to be done. And so, even if you're paying, $2,000 an hour for a jet, if you can get there, get the part, and get back in 3 hours, it can save you a lot of money.
Yeah. And you mentioned the website. Can you give us the address on that if somebody wants to look that up?
Well, the sundowneraviation.com is
Okay.
our website, and then there's fairfieldcountyairport.com, or is it .gov?
I looked it up and I don't know.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
But if you just Google Fairfield County
Yeah.
Airport, you're going to be there.
Yeah.
And it's a nice website. You have a very comprehensive website. It gives you all the stats of the size and everything that you do out there, and the kind of things you can bring in. Just things are really growing out there, and I know the county's very involved with your board and the things going on right here, because everybody, the city, the county, everybody benefits from you guys doing well.
Oh, I think so. I mean, when they first hired us, I told them, what's good for us is good for you. What's good for you is good for us, and all that is true. The better the airport is, it's like a good airport is like a good school. It brings people. Because it's a recreational asset, it's a business asset, and it'll continue to grow just like a good school grows.
And you always hear that when people say, why do people come to the community? Well, one of the first things they talk about is the schools. Here would be another plus. Say, we have an airport. If your company ever has a need for that, then we can probably take care of that too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pat Rooney, one of the managers out at Fairfield County Airport. We know we didn't even get to discuss the historical hangar out there. That's a great show all by itself.
Yes, it is.
We talk about throughout the year. We talk about that, the dances and they've got going on out there. Just great things at the Fairfield County Airport. I'd encourage you to just Google that, look it up. What's the phone number out there if somebody would like to call you?
740-654-7001.
7001, Fairfield County Airport. Pat, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck. We'll have
I
you back
appreciate
in.
it.
Give our best to Glenn Burns and everybody out there. You do a great job at the airport.
Well, thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you. That's the first segment of our show. We'll be back in just a moment. Appreciate Pat Rooney stopping in from the Fairfield County Airport and talking to us about everything out there. Again, that's one of the great places in Lancaster and Fairfield County. Kind of one of those things you don't hear much about, but it adds a lot to the community. So we appreciate Pat stopping to talk to us about that. We'll talk a little Decorative Arts Center in just a moment, but we want to thank the folks here at Fairfield Federal for, again, in 2017, having us back. I always enjoy coming in the lobby downtown. They have this location. We are right downtown. They also have the one on the far west side, and then the one up at Pickerington at Cross Creeks Boulevard. So lots going on here with Fairfield Federal. The big thing as we move into 2017, as it was in 2016, is internet banking, and certainly that's right up the wheelhouse here at Fairfield Federal. You can do things like online bill payments, transfer between your accounts. This is if you're already, somebody has an account here. Transfer money between them. You can view your balances, view your history. You can set up account alerts to things for them if they'd like to let you know about certain things on your money. Lots you can do on the internet. All you have to do is log in and it's already there. So if you're interested in maybe moving to a bank that has this capability, I'd certainly, with all their ATMs and all their locations, encourage you to go to fairfieldfederal.com. They have a great website that can answer a lot of questions. And we always like to say they're local people that make local decisions, and that's very important in the world today. You like to have people that live right in your community making the decisions on your money needs. So as you get into the new year at 2017, I encourage you to go to fairfieldfederal.com and start the quest right there. We mentioned the Decorative Arts Center, Tricia Clifford Sprouse, the acting interim director up there. Tricia, thank you for joining us. I hope you had a good Christmas and a nice New Year's.
It was wonderful. Thank you, Paul.
I tell people, I guess the worst one I ever had was pretty good. Pretty fortunate. Most of us are.
Yeah,
you know, and
all my kids were home, so
well,
it was great.
Well, how nice is that? We had several of them home, several of the grandkids. So that's really, as you get a little older, that's the more fun.
That is.
That's fun doing. So we and I think we had you on late in 2016, and we talked about the things we're going on. We'll add to some of that now. We'll kind of move on from that. But as you look back on 2016, it at least in terms of what we've always talked about all year, it's a pretty busy year.
It was a pretty busy year, and pretty great year.
Yeah.
We've had a lot going on up there. In fact, one of our exhibitions was just mentioned in the Columbus Dispatch as the things to remember from 2016. It was the William Courtlander show. So yeah, it was a very successful year for us.
I think the word has gotten out. There's just a lot going on. And I think years ago, maybe this was, again, like the airport, one of the hidden things. We have a lot of museums along here, a lot of things going on in Lancaster, and sometimes I don't think you ever have to worry about Decorative Arts Center getting lost in the shuffle. But I don't think a lot of people knew it. But in the past few years, you've done things that's really, I think, brought it out into the public, into the mainstream, and you're getting more involved with young people. We'll be talking about some of that in a minute. But I guess part of your job would be to continue to do that in 2017. Just let the people know in the community what you can provide.
Yes, it's just getting the word out. Is one of the hardest things. I still hear people say, we've been open now for 16 years, and I'll still occasionally hear someone say, well, where is that? You know?
Really?
So, yeah.
It just seemed like not too long ago, Lisa Kessler was one of the Fairfield County Commissioners back then. And she was really one of the driving forces back then to get this all purchased and get it turned around. So I know she can, and I've talked to Lisa about it, she can take, I think, great heart in where this has come. Has it been 16 years?
16 years since we've been open, but we've been working on it for longer than that.
Yeah.
I've been there for 18 years.
Wow.
And Lisa was one of our first commissioners that was really working hard to get us
she was in your corner on that, and that really helped get it moving here. So now we talked about, when you were here before, we talked about a new show, that exhibition is going to be open here in February. It's coming up here in just a couple of weeks. It's the Circular Abstractions Bullseye Quilts with Nancy Crow. That's coming up in February. But we also talked about these sensory tours, things that were going on, and you actually brought me a little gizmo here.
A little gift.
A little gift, and I appreciate
stick.
A fidget stick. So tell me about this, and then what we were talking about in sensory tours.
Sure, absolutely. So I attended an autism conference in Columbus in 2016 that was hosted by VSA, which is the Organization for Arts and Disabilities in Ohio, as well as nationally. They had it at the Columbus Museum of Art. I work with a lot of different people with special needs and different disabilities from the schools, and they brought my attention to how organizations can offer programs for people with processing disorders, sensory processing disorders, that would just engage with them on a different level, invite them in a more protective, more safe environment. So we're doing these tours that people can schedule for anyone with a sensory processing disorder.
Doesn't have to be a class.
It doesn't have to be a class at all. 1 in 5 people have some kind of a processing disorder, which is just pretty amazing to me. About 1 in 68 children are born with autism in the United States. And certainly autism, people on the spectrum of autism would fall into, most likely into some sort of a sensory processing disorder. So we're going to offer these tours. You can schedule them on either Mondays when we're not open to the public, or on Saturday mornings before we open to the public.
And that's probably good for these kids and the families to just, they
Even
have
adults.
more freedom, and the adults.
Even some adults with disorders can come and enjoy it. We'll dim the lights. We'll offer, things that are less loud. So if we have any kind of auditory, we'll turn it off or turn it down. We'll have a safe place for people to rest if they need to rest and take a break. We have our fidget sticks, to kind of keep your hands busy so that, you can help focus. We have stickers that people are able to wear. They're Ohio stickers, and they're red, yellow, and green. Green is, hey, I want to talk. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Yellow is, I'm not quite sure I'm ready to have anyone talk to me yet. And red means, I'd like to just enjoy the exhibit without talking to anyone. And that'll alert our docents as to, what their needs are.
And there are other places around the state that do what you do in terms of the Art Center. Are these sensory tours, are these catching on right now? Are these kind of the way to go as we move into this new year?
Yeah, I see a lot of organizations that are offering these. The Columbus Children's Theater, they have a whole day devoted to these sensory tours, these sensory performances, so that people can come in and have, they do like visual cues. If they're going to raise their voice, they'll still raise their voice in the acting part of it,
Sure.
but they'll give them a visual cue that it's going to happen, so that they'll raise their voice like this instead of just yelling out something, and that really helps alert people what's going to be going on. The other thing we're doing are these social stories. I brought a couple of them. Those are available on our website to
Put
download.
one of this up here, Aaron, see if you can get a shot of this right here.
So you
Could that
can.
be over here?
You can look these up on our website, and it just kind of tells you the process of what to expect when you walk in the door.
So lots going on here. I mean, it's got to be kind of rewarding for you in your position. I mean, you do what you do up there, and so many thousands of people every year that come in to look at your exhibits and things. But this is a little bit different. I mean, this is not out of your wheelhouse, but it's a little bit different for what you would think of as an art center to do that. So I think probably it's going to, I would hope it'll be very well taken by the community.
I hope so. I really hope so. I think that it's just reaching a population that is very underserved in our community. And as I said, 1 in 5 people have a sensory processing disorder, so there's a good chance that there's probably, at least 6 of us here in this room alone, if you look at all the people in this room alone.
And we have the Disability Fairfield County DD on with Temple Custer, and I know you know Temple and what they do down there. But, even since I was a kid, now given that's a few years ago, but even from what children with these kinds of disorders, and we didn't have all these labels, there was just kind of one general label everybody was given back in those days, to where they are now, it's light years away how children and even adults are treated versus years ago now. Now is these people they're just people.
They are people functioning in roles very similar to how we function. And
Is there anything that this will lead to, you think, or is this just what you'll do? Or is there a next step after this? Or
this is where we're starting. We're
Okay.
starting with this introduction. Now, we already service a lot of the special needs classes from the schools.
Right.
And we have various classes coming over throughout the week, throughout the month. Once a month, they come over to visit and do art projects. So that's something we've been doing. So this is kind of our second step for the general public. But I could see this growing into even a conference on working with people with sensory processing disorders.
So you learned a lot up there, and now it's your job, I guess, to translate that into how that works at the Decorative Arts Center and how you
Absolutely.
can get it out to Lancaster and Fairfield County.
Yes,
It's going to be fun.
it is going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
It's
A little
always
different.
fun.
You're looking forward to it?
I am looking forward
Very
to
good.
this. This is going to be a great year.
Good. 2017. Now, again, in February, we've got some quilting coming in. Nancy Crow, we talked a little bit about that. So that's, as with this show airs, it'll be, the middle of January, close to that. So you've got almost a month yet. And that thing's coming in. Nancy Crow, it's going to be a pretty cool exhibit for the
It is
quilters.
gonna be
That's
pretty-
big thing in quilting.
And this is, it's called circular abstraction. So it's not your traditional mathematical quilts that what we're used to
Sure.
seeing. These are all abstract art pieces. And the quilt makers that are making these designs, it's pretty intense, pretty amazing designs that are coming out of it. We also have a quilt weekend that will be coming up in April. Nancy Crow will be speaking that weekend. And we have a quilt designer, her name is Donnelly Kennedy. She's going to be there to do a day-long workshop. And this is for the serious quilt person.
There are a lot of.
There are a lot of them.
Yeah.
This is the serious design quilt maker type person that would want to take the workshop like this. And then be there for the Nancy Crow the next day.
Going to be fun. That is February 4th through April 23rd. Got a great website, decartsohio.org, decartsohio.org is the website. What's the phone number if somebody wants to call, get some info?
740-681-1423.
Tricia Clifford Sprouse is the acting co-director up there, and Looks like 2017, looks like there'll be occasions for us to have you back on. Looks like you've already got a lot of things in the works out there. Is a whole year planned out yet, or do you?
It's almost completely planned out.
Really?
So yes, our
I
classes are
suppose you
designed
have to get ahead.
June.
You have to get
Yeah.
ahead on this, don't
Yeah.
you, to get the people in when you want them. So it's going to
Absolutely.
be a fun year. 16 was a great year. Looking for even bigger and better things in 17.
Absolutely, Paul.
Very good. Thank you. Decorative Arts Center. Tricia, thank you for joining us today. One of the favorite places we like to go up there and do shows. So maybe we can get up there in 17
come
and
on
do that
out.
again.
That'd
We'd
be
love
great.
that. Good. Thanks for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.